Hello, this is Optimus Prime G1, and I'm reporting on the Alien Carnage channel. Today we're going to be discussing Star Wars. And are all of the Disney's Star Wars not canon? The question is, why would they be canon and why would they not be canon? Well, the reason a lot of people it's all been all over the internet recently, a lot of people have been saying that they shouldn't be canon and that at least the sequels should be changed. Now, why is that? Well, they're saying that they're not as popular as the original trilogy and even the prequels. So, why was the original so popular? And how they determine that? Well, a lot of it's determined by the toys in the toy aisle and what's left. In the original trilogy, episodes 4, 5, and 6, which is A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, toys flew off the shelves. And there's a reason for that. The reason is that the toy companies had something to go off of to make new toys, to make people want to rebuy Luke Skywalker, make them want to rebuy Han Solo, make them want to rebuy Princess Leia. That's why the toys flew off the shelves. You think about it. The original episode 4, before it was episode 4, was just Star Wars, A New Hope, right? And the toys for that one were selling out before they even went in the stores. They didn't even have them made yet, and they were flying off shelves. Then you come out with Empire Strikes Back, whole new series, and look, they have Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo on different worlds. They have them in snow in new outfits. We can put the new outfits in the toys and sell those. Not only did they have Luke Skywalker on Hoth, but they had Luke Skywalker on Bespin. They had Luke Skywalker trained with Yoda. I mean, these were different things that they could sell. They also had a C-3PO that was in pieces that they could put in a bag and put in the back of Chewbacca. They had Han Solo in Carbonite. They had Han Solo on Hoth. They had Han Solo. They had Han Solo in different situations. And Princess Leia they had on Hoth. Princess Leia they had in the dress on Bespin. You had different situations, and you had new characters too. You had all the new characters on Bespin. You had all the different bounty hunters. You had new characters. You had new ships. You had the snow speeders. You had the TIE bombers. You had the Slave One. You had new ships. You had new material to use. And then when Jedi came out, there was even more stuff. But when you look back at the sequels, the toy companies really have something to work with to make new things. I mean, these were tons and tons of toys, not just one or two things they had. They had tons of it. But when you got to the prequels, you had tons of stuff to work with. You had all the droids in episode 1. Yeah, you had episode 1 droids, and then you had the clones in episode 2, and episode 3 obviously had the clones as well. You had new ships in episode 1. Episode 3 had new ships as well. Episode 2, I can't remember if there was enough new ships in that one, but there were still new characters that got developed. There was still new aliens got developed. You had all the insects that were on down in I can't remember where the planet is right now, but where Amidala and Kenobi and Anakin all got captured. You had the aliens down there, the insectoid aliens. You had the creatures that were trying to kill them. You had stuff to go off of. In episode 3, you had even more stuff to go off of. So when you get to the sequels, was there really anything to go off for the toy companies? I don't see a lot to go off of. You didn't really have them in different situations, different costumes. You had a couple of different costumes, but in the first episode, you had Rey in her scavenger outfit, and you had her in a regular outfit. After that, that's the main outfit she stayed in. I mean, there was a little bit of costume change, but there wasn't really enough of a costume. It wasn't really a big difference, really. And even the other characters, you really didn't have really new outfits to go off of. Even when they were on the on the sand planet or the salt planet with the crystalline creatures, there really wasn't a lot to go off of. You could put the crystalline creatures, but ah, it doesn't really make for a good toy. Well, for one, I mean, you have to think what makes a good toy. I mean, episode 7 came out. You had new stuff. You had tons of new stuff. You had the new ships for the New Order. You had new stormtroopers. Then 7 came out. 7 really didn't have a lot. I mean, I'm not saying it didn't have any new stuff, but you compare that to Empire Strikes Back, all the new stuff that came out with. There wasn't a lot for the toy companies to do. You had a lot of people that were upset with the movie that came out. So they probably weren't going to buy the toys anyway, but at least if you had some good toys, the people who did like the movie would have bought them. You didn't have enough new stuff. I saw the toy shelves. The toy shelves didn't look that interesting. You didn't have enough new stuff. Now, looking at that, that's how people judge it based on A, did they like the movie? B, are they seeing toys fly off the shelves? And that's the thing. There wasn't a lot of toys flying off the shelves. So they're saying, well, I didn't like the movie, and toys aren't moving. So it's a bad movie. Not necessarily. Excuse me. Not necessarily. It was a slow-paced movie. That it was. It's like watching... excuse me one second. I need a drink. They say it was a slow... excuse me again. They said it was a slow-paced movie because... I mean, and they said it wasn't a good movie. It wasn't not a good movie. It was very slow-paced, and that's the problem. The only fast-paced stuff you had was the stuff where Rose Tico and Flynn were going to the casino planet. And it really didn't amount to anything. You had new characters introduced that didn't pay off. They never saw them again after that. They didn't show up in the next Star Wars movie. I can't even remember all the different names of the places. I mean, the names of the characters they brought in, like the one that was the hacker. I can't remember what his name was. It didn't stand out to me. It wasn't a standout character. I'm sorry, but I don't know if is the actor acting it right or if it was just the lines were written for him. I don't know, but it really, to me, it didn't seem. It didn't seem all that interesting. The character. Now, I could be wrong, and people might like the character. I didn't care. It didn't resonate with me. It really didn't resonate with me. So, I'm not saying the movie was bad. It was slow paced. There were certain choices that could have been better. Now, one criticism people have they say is you didn't get to see the true power of Luke Skywalker. That I will say is false. You did get to see the true power of Luke Skywalker. He broadcasted his image across the universe to galaxy, universe, whatever. He broadcasted his image of himself physically across. I mean, he physically interacted with Leia, and he broadcasted this across space. If that's not showing the strength of the character, I don't know what is. Yes, he seemed like a very whiny Luke Skywalker. I won't say he didn't, but it humanized his character better. Yes, they could have gone for the all-powerful Luke Skywalker we saw in Legends, but I don't think if that would be boring. Honestly, to see that on screen where he could do anything, there'd be no point. To have him where he failed and was upset with himself that he failed. He had internal struggles going on because he had failed as a leader to his class. That makes sense to me. That actually makes sense to me. Now, he had some Yoda moments, like when he held the leaf out to Rey, when he was saying, "Do you feel that? Do you feel that?" She says, "Yes, yes," and he says, and they and they smacked her with it. I mean, that to me was like a Yoda moment. There was a Yoda moment there. I loved that moment. Where I was like, yeah, that to me was echoes of Yoda. something Yoda would have done. But I understand him having this negative attitude towards everything he saw happen to his students. He had failed his students. It wasn't just that his. I understand people say, well, he would never have even thought of attacking his nephew when he was sleeping. Looks like we're going to done that. It was. He even said it was a moment of weakness. It was just a fleeting moment of weakness. But it's one that Ben happened to catch a glimpse of, and that's what caused the Ben to fully turn, right? At that moment. Because Ben didn't know he had second thoughts. All he saw was this man standing over him with a lightsaber. He didn't know that Luke Skywalker was having second thoughts in his head. He didn't know what was going on. All he saw was this person standing over him with a lightsaber. And that was enough for him to fully turn. He had probably at that point had questions in himself. And for you to say that Luke Skywalker would never done that, everybody, a human being, has moments of that. And Luke Skywalker was a human being. Just because he was a great Jedi doesn't mean he wasn't a human being. So, yes, that was a human being. He did show tremendous powers. There were questionable moments in the movie, yes. Was it a bad movie? It wasn't the greatest Star Wars movie. I wouldn't say it's a bad movie. It wasn't the greatest Star Wars movie, but it wasn't a bad movie. Then you get to the last one, which was Rise of Skywalker. That one was a fast-paced movie. It was a little too fast-paced. I think they left out a lot of stuff on the cutting floor because the movie was too long. And I would love to see what they actually cut out, to see what made it in and what didn't make it in to the final cut. I would love to see that. Hopefully one day we get that cut that shows what they left in, what they left out. But to say these movies were all horrible and need to be rewritten, I don't think that's going to happen. One, they were movies that cost millions to make. And because they cost millions to make, they aren't going to trash them. I'm sorry, but they're not. They're not going to say these are no longer canon. And they're not going to remake them because anything they remake is not going to meet certain expectations. No matter what they do, you're not going to have the original Leia anymore. They could recast her. They could digitally put her in the movies. That would make some people happy and make other people very, very unhappy. So you're still going to have that people who are going to be mad, one way or the other. They don't have the original Leia. And no matter which way they do it, they can make the movie that certain fans really, really want. Other fans are going to be like, why? You know? You're still going to have the divide in the fan base. It's not going to help them. It's going to be a detriment to them. So I do not see them uncanonizing what they've done so far. I love the Solo movie. I thought it was a good movie. Was it the best Star Wars movie ever? Maybe not, but I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed Rogue One. I did enjoy the movies while I was watching them, the sequels. Can I nitpick and say, yeah, there's a lot of things that they could have changed? Yeah, of course I can. But I still enjoyed, while I was watching them, I enjoyed them. I did find certain moments cringy, even while I was watching it, like the Leia Superman moment. I did find that cringy to watch. I found the kiss between Rose and Finn cringy. I found it cringy that Rose was able to catch up to Finn's ship when obviously he was far out ahead of her and there's no way she should have caught up. I found that cringy. But, I mean, yes, I found cringy moments in some of the original episodes. This the whole sand thing. Although the sand, no, the whole sand thing in the sequel, in the prequels, where he says, "I don't like sand," that actually is a moment that a normal person would have with a girl who's not used to being around a girl, and it's his first real moment with a girl. Yes, it would happen that way. And yes, it would be just as cringy as what you saw on the screen. That's realistic. But again, it was cringy while I was watching it. I can go back and say, yeah, that's why. I still can't go back and say the original ones, the new ones, and say, yeah, that makes sense. But see, there's some stuff that I can go back to in the original Star Wars, and I can find cringy now that I didn't find cringy when I watched it. Like when you find out You see kissing scenes between Luke and Leia, and then you find out, oh, they're brother and sister. Then you go back and watch those original things, and you just cringe watching this stuff. Your brother and sister, you should be, but they don't know that. They didn't know that. And when George wrote it, don't think he really had it in mind for them to be brother and sister originally either. That sort of came out later. That you know what, brother and sister. He may have had it in mind, but still, at the same time, even if he has it in mind, these are characters that don't know this. They had no clue. So but still, there's still like how did there's a moment in Empire Strikes Back when the Falcon is sitting waiting for the trash to be dumped from the Star Destroyer so they can float away the trash. Now, how did Boba Fett know he was going to do that? As it's a move that all smugglers use, and that's why I don't. He just had to be there, ready for that to happen, and I still don't understand how he knew he was going to do that. It's like that to me is a cringy moment. I'm sorry, but it is. There is cringy moments in the original series, and that's and people consider that one of the best movies, and still there's cringy moments in that one. So, unless Boba Fett has force powers, but he's a clone, so he shouldn't have force powers. But so yeah, I don't believe that they're going to decanonize Disney Star Wars. If anything, they'll probably just not deal with it, not talk about it. It's there, it's canon, but they might not just double down on it. They might not keep going with what they did. They might just focus on something else, a different era. The thing was, I don't think they could have pleased anybody, no matter what they did with that. Honestly, with the sequels, I think no matter what they did, they were going to upset people. And one thing I want to make clear is, the Legends was never canon. George Lucas even mentioned Legends were never canon. What the Jedi did in the Tales from Jedi, where you had the Sith remaining after death, such as the Force ghosts do on the light side, that was never supposed to happen, according to George Lucas. That wasn't something that evil was supposed to be able to do, because that you had to be good to them. But at the same time, Darth Vader was able to become a Force ghost without having to meditate and everything or study for it like Obi-Wan and Yoda did. So there's something there. But they were never supposed to be canon. George said that he may take stuff from there. He didn't. He would supervise that to make sure they didn't go too far off of what Star Wars was, so that people wouldn't get confused between. It said these in books, what you're doing this in movies. So he would try to make sure that they synced together. But the Legends was never canon. It was all fan service. Legends was all fan service. That's all it was. People could read Star Wars books and stay in the Star Wars universe. And he made sure that it didn't stray too far off the ranch, so that it jived with what he was doing on screen. So everything jived, even though he didn't consider them canon. So Disney just announcing they decanonized them, well, they were never really canon. I've always saw the Legends as a different alternate reality. Like this, if things changed, this could happen. Whereas the original stories were the movies. So to me, they were always like a different universe type thing, or a different reality, alternate reality. So again, I do not believe they'll uncanonize Star Wars. It's not profitable for them to uncanonize the Star Wars and redo it. It's not profitable for them. Now, if they ever sell it, which I don't think they ever will, because they have a hit with Mandalorian, and that story is really good. It was good before they brought Baby Yoda in. Before they brought Baby Yoda in at the end of Episode 1, I was all in for it. Even when Baby Yoda's not on screen, the rest of the action is really, really good. It's really good. Yes, Baby Yoda brings in extra people who probably wouldn't watch The Mandalorian. They watch it for Baby Yoda. But for people who like Star Wars in action, there's enough there without the Baby Yoda to really grasp those Star Wars people. I don't see Baby Yoda lasting through the series as quote unquote a sidekick to the Mandalorian. I could be wrong. I see him going away within either this season or next season, and not being part of the storyline. I really do like the Mandalorian. I think the pace of it was really good. It was almost like watching a movie that was broken up in parts. I'm watching this part of the movie this day, this part's of the movie this day, and this part's of the movie this day, and that's what it felt like. It was really good, but they haven't hit with that. So why would they decanonize Star Wars and have this hit going on? So no, I do not think they're going to decanonize it. I think it's going to continue on. Whether they do anything with anything that had to do with the sequels or not, I don't know. They may mention the Mandalorian eventually, certain things. Who knows? So we'll see. And yeah, again, I just don't see it happening. Thank you for watching. Until next time, later.